You're listening to the Floyd Main Street Podcast. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Lucas Graham, back for another edition of the Floyd Main Street Podcast. Joining us today are our usual co-hosts, Mr. Eric Branscombe. How you doing today, Eric?
Doing good, Lucas. How are you?
We're doing good. Mr. Chad Harris joining us also. Chad, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Soggy again today, more rain.
It is soggy. I will tell you right now that I missed not being here last week when we recorded, fellas. I done got in the habit of being here, and having some camaraderie and joking around.
And you get your stories lined up. So, I got a good story coming up, and then you didn't. You're like, I got nobody to tell it to.
It was also good to have a week off. I appreciate Miss McKenzie coming in and for the special interview, which if you haven't checked that out, definitely go back and listen to. It was a good interview, but it's good to be back, bringing some news and music and events to Floyd, to you guys, and there is a lot to unpack this week. We've got information and news on the county administrator. We talked about it on the last episode that the county administrator we did have, Ms. Millsaps, had resigned. The county's officially posted that they're seeking a new county administrator. We'll dive into that. We'll talk about some reckless shootings that have been happening here in the county. Talk about what that means exactly, and details on that. And Floydfest, it's come and gone. Were you there?
We lived through it. Yet another one.
You either survived or you had a great time. Did you thrive or survive Floydfest 25? But without further ado, let's just jump right into it, fellas. Start off with the county administrator
Well,
position.
I think the good news is the county has chosen a new administrator.
They have?
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Well, I thought it was just posted on the website.
Well, this has got to look at the way it works.
So where was it posted?
The only place that I've found that it's posted is on the actual county website.
That's where I saw it.
The description and the request for applications was posted on July 29th. But the interesting thing about that is it's only open for 12 days, and that the closing date to receive all the applications is 4 p.m. on August 10th, a Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
That's an interesting...
That is a little odd.
I would think, in my mind, that a position of that magnitude, you would think would be open for a longer period than that, because you want to cast a wide net to make sure you get a good batch of candidates.
Well, you'd think that. I mean, particularly since the last time we had an opening, back in 2020, the county posted a very similar application, and that was posted on the Virginia Association of Counties website. That's one of the places, if you're in the business of local government, that's where you go to check out what kind of openings there are. Back in 2020, they posted that, and that was open for a month. And it's one that's going to be widely viewed by other local government professionals. Like, for example, at the moment, the town of Christiansburg is looking for a new town manager. And they posted back on July 14th. It's on the Virginia County Employment Opportunities. And there's a whole list of things on here. So if you were in local government, this is where you'd go. For example, you've got staff auditor for Chesterfield County, case manager for Chesterfield County, someone for Spotsylvania County, Montgomery County administrative coordinator. The list goes on and on. They're all in here, but there's no listing for Floyd County.
So I assume that site is free to every county agency to post on? That's
right. Everybody posts on that. Even if you weren't a member of the Virginia Association of Counties, how much do you suppose it costs to post on there? $100. That's it. So what we're talking about here is a position that, according to what the county has posted, is a $59 million budget, and it's only open for 12 days. Now, we can just do a little read between the lines here that this is kind of just from what I'm seeing, is that you do a short advertising period like that when you already have in mind who you want to hire. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about that. If you know who you want to hire, that's what you do. I mean, you just put it up there. You limit the time period so you don't have to worry about a lot of other people coming in with qualifications.
Why wouldn't you just do it for one day?
Exactly. You do it for one day. For example, if you have a county administrator that's been there for a long time, a number of years, and everything's going great, it's all nice and smooth, and they're going to retire, and you're going to say, okay, well, we want their number two person that's been there with them all along. We just want to keep steady state. Everybody want to keep on the same path and, the same kind of approach. That's exactly what you do because you've got things running smoothly. It just seems a little odd to do that when you have someone resign in the middle of the night on a Thursday and then just disappear. And then you have the number two person take over without really casting a wider net just to see what you can get. You post it on the Floyd County website. Who's going to see that? Who's going to regularly check that? There may be a few people that check, but 12 days, that's a pretty narrow opening.
You want to find the best candidate that fits the needs and what Floyd needs, the challenges that the county's facing. And you want that wide net cast to make sure that you find an optimal candidate.
And that's the job for the Board of Supervisors, is that's what they do. They go through and see from everybody and see who they want. And if in the end they decide that the person who's the interim county administrator, that they want her in there anyway, that's fine. That's perfectly legal. There's nothing wrong with that. They're looking for the right person. It just seems a little odd that given the somewhat sudden exit of Ms. Millsaps, that we would have a very short period looking for the next county administrator, particularly since there really hasn't been any explanation given why Ms. Millsaps left in the middle of the night on a Thursday.
It was sudden. I'm curious, Eric, you mentioned, like you're talking about, that this process, albeit legal in nature, when does it become illegal? When does it become a corruption or whatever term you want to throw on it? It just kind of piqued my interest because you said that everything that's happening is technically legal. So when does it become illegal?
When you have a government position that you have to fill, for most of the departments, what you have to do is have an open advertisement. So it has to be publicly advertised, and it has to be for a period of time. There's nothing in the law that says what it is, but you have to publicly advertise it. And it depends on the departments. For example, constitutional officers don't have the same rules as general county. But say if there was an opening for, a building official or anybody else in the public service authority, those are all local government positions that you would have to advertise for. And you do so in a public forum. Now, which public forum it is up to the discretion of the people putting it out there. So you could put it in a place where everybody can see it, or you can put it in a place where not very many people are going to see it. As long as it's public, it's legal.
Right. And are there laws or guidelines that dictate the amount of time that has to be posted for?
No, it can be as short as a day. Quite frankly, that's not that unusual. Like I said, when you have a situation when you know where the person is and you're going to hire them because they've got experience, they've been there, and there hasn't been any problem, and you're not looking for a change in direction, then that's not at all uncommon. A problem that comes up from this sequence of events is that someone leaving in the middle of the night, in the middle of the week, seems to indicate that there's a problem. And then, on the other hand, then the message that's kind of sent from the board is that we're going to keep going along with the same people that have been running it. So I don't know exactly what that's messaging.
It certainly raises some eyebrows.
Well, it does. And I've had a lot of people call about that and concerned, and I've been fielding calls. No, there's nothing illegal about this process. There are transparency issues, of course, but not illegalities.
Yeah. Just some of the feedback that we've gotten on the podcast that people kind of seek after when it involving local government things. That's a word that we've heard multiple times is transparency. That's what people want. And I don't know that this process, like you said, completely legal. There's nothing wrong about it per se, but it doesn't change the fact that it raises the eyebrows. It makes you question. And when there's already things going on in the county where your eyebrows are already raised and you're already questioning things, I don't know that helps the transparency narrative any.
Well, true. One of the issues that we have that's raised by this is in the county administration, in the chain of command, the next person that's likely to move up is a lady who happens to be the daughter of the chairman. Now, she does a wonderful job. I think she does great. But the problem is that there are anti-nepotism laws in Virginia, and that triggers a problem that could occur. And that's not fair to her. It's unfortunate that the situation has to come up. But it's something that it's triggered by all of this. If her supervision has to be by someone that's an immediate family member, that triggers a review in certain laws in Virginia. And it's a problem.
That's not even something I'd even thought about or considered. But essentially, for any listeners, myself included, that probably if you put a gun to my head and told me to define nepotism, I could probably do it in a really redneck roundabout way. But essentially, what does that boil down to? Just a conflict of interest?
You hear the term conflict of interest a lot. And that conflict of interest under Virginia law pretty much narrowly deals with financial conflict of interest. Nepotism is the legal term that when you have someone in a close or immediate family is being employed in a government position, particularly a public employee position, and that their immediate supervisor is part of that immediate family. It creates problems for supervision that if the county wants to go down that route, they have to create special procedures to deal with that. They may be willing to do that. That's up to the county administration how to decide. And of course, it's ultimately up to the Board of Supervisors. but it does create special problems.
That you have to navigate around. It makes sense. Eric and then Chad can probably chime in on this too. We're going to change gears a little bit if you guys want to talk about some of the stuff going on in the county recently. I think there was some incidents of some reckless handling of some firearms, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's something that came up for my department, that in the last couple of weeks, we've had 3 separate incidences of people apparently target shooting that were not paying close attention to what they were doing or doing it in a sloppy manner. And you had shots going, in one case, in someone's home. Another one, people felt that they thought a bullet might have gone nearby. Well, that was in 2 circumstances. So all of those are being investigated. No doubt the sheriff's office will be going into that, but none of these look intentional at this point. These are people just being reckless in the way they're shooting all their guns.
Yeah.
That's something that everybody that has a firearm, and Chad, I'm sure you chime in on this, but everybody that's going to use firearm, that yes, it's a right under the Second Amendment, but you have to be careful because other people's lives are at stake.
You were a special prosecutor on a case not too long ago, correct? Where there was an off-duty deputy that was with his father, and he went to shoot a groundhog, and the bullet went through the window and struck a lady.
That's right. That was down in Wythe County. It was an off-duty deputy. He saw a groundhog on his father's property, and he had his service weapon with him, and a 9mm, and he took a shot at it. And apparently he missed the groundhog, and the way he was shooting was situated such that it was a downhill. There was a house almost 150 yards away. It was a very long shot, but the bullet traveled down there, went through the siding of the house, and actually struck the woman who was on her exercise machine at the time. She didn't hear the gunshot. She had actually struck her cell phone that she had in her pocket, and she thought her cell phone had just exploded. Like you hear about these batteries exploding.
Yeah.
So she goes to the hospital, and they're checking her out, and apparently in the midst of that, they do an x-ray, and they find out that she has a bullet actually in her. Not very far.
To have that happen and not hear it.
Right, yeah. Well, she was just, headphones on,
Yeah.
on like a stair climber or something like that, just working out, and it got hit by that. It was a very long shot, and there was no reason to think that a 9mm round would go as far as it did. But what happened was it was the lay of the land, that it was a sharp drop-off, and the state police worked with them quite a bit on that and said, look, it's you have enough muzzle velocity coming off of it to have it travel that far, and it would have been going down. And it went down all the way, and it still had enough to go through the house, which is basically a double wide. So it had a certain amount of siding to it, but it wasn't enough to stop it. But it was enough to slow down the bullet's velocity, so by the time it struck the lady, it didn't injure her severely.
Wow.
But it did kill the phone.
Yeah.
We live in a rural area, and we live in a county to where if you own or on property that you have the ability to target practice and shoot your guns and shoot by all accounts, I think we encourage that, exercise that Second Amendment right. However, you got to be smart. You got to be safe. Chad can talk about it more. I mean, the importance of having the proper backstop, just taking that extra time before you go shooting to prevent it, because I can tell you that bullet goes through that house and it strikes that neighbor lady, albeit 100% unintentional. It's something you're going to have to deal with and you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. So just take that extra time and make sure you're set up safe.
Yeah, that's right. That's probably my biggest fear with target shooting. Make sure you have a good backstop. And even then, mistakes could still happen. So you just got to be very cautious about what you're doing.
Do you recommend setting up as far as a backstop maybe on a hillside to where the ground is your backstop if you overshoot?
What I did was actually took tires and filled them with sand and then stacked them up and put them up against a couple of trees.
Okay.
To build a pretty good backstop if you didn't have that hillside.
Right.
That works. There's a number of things you could do to be safe about it, but it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I think people don't realize just bullets, they can go a long way, and if you're not careful and if you don't know exactly what's behind it, what's going to happen if you miss and the shot goes wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, Floydfest.
We lived through it.
We lived through it. I talked about at the beginning, I said you either survived or you thrived. Kind of seems to be the split down the middle on the Floydfest stuff.
They couldn't have had a hotter weekend, I don't think.
Yeah. I think it's been the last few years they've battled some rain and some storms and some mud, just weather issues.
It's been rare to have a Floydfest that didn't have thunderstorms.
It's kind of like the Hillsville Flea Market. It always rains that weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't remember hearing anything as far as traffic issues. There was no hiccups and just minimal calls for service. I know the medical staff talked about heat strokes and just typical things you'd find in an outdoor festival.
Yeah, I looked over the notes for the calls for service, and that was a large number of what the dispatchers dealt with, it looked like.
Yeah. but it came and went. I don't know what the numbers were on the crowds. I don't know if it was as big of a crowd or about the same.
I'd heard from people that it was down.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much.
But it's gone. So if you went, I'm curious to know. Send us a comment, send us a message. Let us know who was your favorite artist that you saw at Floydfest this year. What did you love about it? What did you hate about it? Anything in between. Because if you live in Floyd, whether you love it or hate Floydfest, I guarantee you got an opinion on it at least.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There's plenty of opinions out there.
There are. And I don't know why I would encourage anybody to share theirs on a public forum or social media, because I think most people don't have an issue.
I don't think
with
they
it.
need encouragement to share their opinions on public forum.
All right. Well, that covers the big news here in Floyd for this week's episode. We're going to shift gears, talk about a little bit of music. Now that Floydfest is come and gone, if you're still hanging around in the area looking for your fix, we'll just do a quick rundown here. We'll start in order of the calendar here. So we'll go Wednesday. If you're into karaoke, Dogtown's doing karaoke again, 7 to 9 p.m. this coming Wednesday at Dogtown. Moving on to Thursday at the Country Store, they're having their Honky Tonk Thursdays again. You've heard us talk about that on here. They feature this on Thursday nights. And the Classic Country Review will be playing.
Is that the name of the band, Classic Country Review?
And it is REVUE, which one of our production team members was trying to explain that before the show of honestly what the heck that meant. But the Honky Tonk Thursdays are a really neat thing, and I know a lot of people go to that enjoy two-step and line dance and things like that. That'll take care of Thursday's music. Friday night, we'll keep it at the Country Store. We've got Josh Blankenship going to be doing a gospel set to open the night, and it's going to be followed by the Street Loafers. Add that to the list of unique band names that have come across here at the Floyd Main Street Podcast. But they'll be headlining the Friday night jamboree inside the store, so check that out. If you're going to be over at the brewery on Friday night and not at the Country Store, you can check out Jimmy the Jammer Wilson. I think this is the third time we've brought him up on the podcast. He seems to be a regular performer at the brewery, so make sure you go check him out. Moving on to Saturday night at the Country Store, we've got Wayne Henderson and Presley Barker. They will be headlining the Country Store from a 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. show. Go right down the road to Outer Space. We've got Virginia Hollow. They will be playing from 6 to 8 at Outer Space. And if that ain't good enough right there in that confined little space of town, you can just slip on into Dogtown where the Rarely Available Band will play. And I just want to note that other than TBD...
TBD, yes.
The Rarely Available Band, it seems to be pretty available because that's about the second or third time we've talked about them. So good for them. They found time in their schedule.
But TBD isn't playing here this weekend.
They had a long week of the 4th. I think they're just taking some time off. And then Wildwood. We've talked about it before, but every Sunday I think they're doing another car show.
That's right. They do them twice a month during the summer.
They'll have music there as well. We'll dive into that in a minute.
Well, I found another one. Have you ever heard of Why Not Wednesday?
I have not.
No.
Why Not Wednesdays happen at Hippie Hollow.
Where's that at?
It's off 709 Webbs Mill Road. So on Wednesday from 2:30 p.m. to 5 p.m., saw the site online, and it looks like it's by...
It's across from the vet clinic, from Dr. McGrath's old vet clinic.
Okay. So apparently they have music. It looks like you go and you hang out in a tube or a raft in the water while you hear the band play by the river.
Boy, it would be nice on a hot day.
Yeah, I'd say not today. So much we're recording this on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it was 65 this afternoon when we came in.
I didn't expect to be doing smoked chili beans at the 1st of August on a Saturday, but here we are.
It's happening, man.
I'm doing it today.
Me too.
Great minds think alike, right?
Hey, we got to get prepared for that October when the Rotary Club does their chili cook-off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got a couple months to go to that, but since Chad brought it up, we're going to throw
try
that out
to cover
right
that
now.
live.
That would be really fun, but the Rotary Club does a chili cook-off. I don't want to take up too much time with it, but it's coming up in October, and it's usually a big deal, but there's going to be some new entrants this year.
So is the sheriff's office going to get
We
involved?
are, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so we're going to have an internal competition in our office, and then the winner, everybody will support at the Rotary Club's chili cook-off.
Who's going to judge the internal competition?
I've got a few volunteers so far.
Yeah.
I might even put your name down.
Well, I got to be careful because I've been a judge for the Rotary competition, so I might have to stay impartial with that. That's what we might call a conflict of interest.
Information here, Lucas.
All right, we'll go ahead and end this podcast so me and Eric got something to talk about in private. All right, let's talk about some other events going on. Chad, you said there was a spaghetti dinner coming up to VFW, right?
Yeah, that's right. August the 11th from 4 to 7, the VFW is having a fundraiser at the VFW for a spaghetti dinner, dine in or carry out, and that address is 186 Epperly Mill Road.
All right. That's always good, and they usually have a pretty good crowd from what I remember. Thursday night, we've mentioned it once before, and the chaos that ensues with it, apparently, according to John Velitis and production team here. But the Scrabble Club.
The Scrabble Club. Yeah, things getting wild. Did we got anything? Did the sheriff's office had to step in and break up any kind of...
I think we responded, but it was worked out before we got there.
Okay.
No arrests were made.
No arrests were made. Yeah.
You have to have a special task force for that sort
That's
of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Wild times at the library.
That's right. Thursday, August 7th, and that'll be from 1:30 to 4, so got a good little window there to get your Scrabble fix in. It says, come in and enjoy a challenging and fun game with other word enthusiasts. Moving on here, also at the library on Saturday, it says, everyone's favorite reptiles are back at the Jesse Peterman Memorial Library. Join lead naturalist Judy from Claytor Lake State Park as you find out what makes a reptile, and learn about some of the common turtles, snakes, and lizards. During the program, you have the opportunity to meet some of the live reptilian volunteers. So that'll be Saturday, August 9th at the library from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah, I know there's going to be plenty of people that aren't going to want to go anywhere near the library on that Saturday.
I see here where you're going, Eric, so I was just curious. Will you be the only snake there, or will there be other attorneys?
He's one of the featured reptiles.
Yeah, there will be other snakes there, yeah.
I'm just...
It's professional courtesy. We're going to...
Rounding it off, this is one that I have seen a lot. And I mean a lot of action and a lot of response from. Saturday, August 9th at Crooked Mountain, located at 1378 Shooting Creek Road. They are doing date night on the farm. Again, Saturday night, August 9th. This description says, come join us for a relaxing evening of music, great food, flower picking, and more. Music by Jason Thompson, and food available for purchase from the Countryman Jamaican Grill and 1218 Ventures. Bring a blanket, chairs, hang out, enjoy a sunset, listen to some great music. It's $10 per couple. In today's world, that is about as cheap of a date night as it gets right there. Flower picking and other event services at additional cost. The event is limited to 250 people, and as of this recording, there was approximately 5.6 thousand people interested on Facebook in it.
Holy mackerel.
So it might be a little busy that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we missed one here. The Floyd Church of God Hearts and Hands Women's Ministry.
Oh, when's that?
They're having a fresh women's conference from August 8th and 9th. And the conference speaker is, I hope I don't butcher this, Marissa Scott.
That might be. And you know what? Little insider information here. My mother is going to kill me because I forgot that. She's the one that messaged me and said, will y'all put this on the podcast for the church? And I said, oh, yeah, sure, Mom, no problem. And here I am. Didn't even write it down. So thanks, Chad, for the save on that one.
Chad said we couldn't do that.
That should cover it this week. There's a lot going on. Or did I miss something?
No. I'm just thinking that this is the time of year where you're going to expect to see a few more revivals pop up. So
Yeah.
I think that we ought to be keeping our eyes open for that. And if there's anybody that knows about any revivals coming up, let us know so we can get the word out.
Yeah, and I have seen stuff about tent revivals. I don't know if they've come and gone yet or if they are upcoming. We'll do some digging on that and find out, because I know that those are pretty popular around here. Well, I know there's been some on Route 8 off Dusty Rock, and then Slate Rock Presbyterian and Pastor Dalton has done some.
They just had theirs.
Okay. So we'll definitely keep you up to date on those. Bible schools are probably winding down. If you know any more that may be coming up late right before school starts.
Yeah, and speaking of which, just a reminder, school starts the week after next. So
Yeah.
you're going to see the school buses out.
There you go.
Make sure
Yeah.
to slow down if you work in Montgomery County and you're going through Reiner, because they've got their e-ticket system up and running. And
Yeah.
It still just shocks me how early school has been starting, but I guess it's just the way it is these days.
I remember one year starting right about, it was either just before or right after Labor Day.
that's what I was thinking. It was
That
after
traditionally,
Labor Day.
yeah, that's what I remember, having a nice long August.
Right. Enjoy that summer a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
But then, school went into like June 6th or 10th sometimes. But then you didn't start until the end of August.
we know the football program, talking about sports, since we kind of gotten off of that a little bit since the summer was here, but that'll be ramping back up. High school football is going to be doing some summer workouts, 2-a-days.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a great, not to put him on the spot, I don't know if he's a listener of the podcast, but I think it'd be a really good idea to try to get Coach Cromer on here, and let's talk about the football program too. A lot of interest in that.
Yeah.
He's taken over, it's his year 2 after taking over for the legendary Winford Bill.
Mm-hmm.
We've internally discussed a lot of different interviews interviews and different things here. We want to bring stuff that you, our listeners, are interested in. So if you have any suggestions, if you got people that you want us to interview or topics to discuss, events that we missed, please do not hesitate. We appreciate all the messages that we've gotten. And as a matter of fact, I've got one to talk about right here. We'll bring it up again, but I had gotten a private message on that I do not want to forget about. And it's coming up in September, but I told the group that we'd start advertising early because they're really shooting for a heavy turnout. The Mountain Valor Fest. We talk about Crooked Mountains having date night. Well, in September, on September 13th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Crooked Mountain, they are having the Mountain Valor Fest. It's a day of remembrance, resources, and connection for rural veterans and their families.
Oh,
I think this is such an awesome thing, and I think they said it best, so I'm just going to read what the flyer says. You don't have to have worn a uniform to be a part of this. The Mountain Valor Fest brings together veterans, their families, and the greater community to recognize service and strengthen rural support networks. Come listen, learn, and enjoy a day of purpose and connection. And they're saying that there's going to be 5 different food trucks there, 40-plus veteran and family resources, a 9/11 and Global War on Terror remembrance coming up at 4 p.m. that day. There's music all day long. They've got some really good sponsors. It looks like they've really put some time and effort into this. It sounds just like a phenomenal thing.
That's fantastic. I like to see a community doing anything to recognize veterans.
Yeah. We cannot forget our veterans.
Yeah, we've got to support them.
Absolutely. So I definitely plan to bring that up between now and when that event comes, but I didn't want to go without mentioning it. But I think that should cover it for this week.
Yep. There was more than enough going on.
There's plenty to go. We had that week off, and we've just been sitting on our hands waiting to get back in here and get to record. At least I have.
Harder for Chad with his long arms.
Yeah.
So he has to step on his hands.
He had a busy week trying to sell bins, too, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, out there by Floydfest, hawking bins to everybody that needed them.
I thought we was done with this podcast.
Well, we may be thinning out some of the hosts.
Yeah. But, hey, I do want to say thanks to our production team. Not to sound like an old broken record, but they make the magic happen. John Velitis, Big Country Cockrum. I mean, they're the ones that provide the equipment. They're the ones that do the editing. We're just a bunch of goobers that don't really sound like much if we don't have this good equipment and good at editing.
As long as we don't have to all crowd around trying to talk into one cell phone.
Yeah.
We tried that.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you imagine a group of guys trying to do a podcast that did that?
Matter of fact, if it wasn't for John, we'd probably still be doing
that. That's right.
We do appreciate John and Big Country, and we appreciate you, the listeners. Don't forget to check us out. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. We're on all the platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. Everything from iHeartRadio to Spotify to Apple Podcasts. You can find us there. Check us out. And lastly, I'm just going to remind you once again to take care of yourselves and take care of the ones you love. And until next week, we'll see y'all later.
See ya.
From the hollers and the hills where Appalachia shines, a little place called Floyd, where a friend of yours is a friend of mine. Welcome to Floyd, where stories unfold in the heart of Appalachia, treasures untold.